Before we get into the latest rumors surrounding the New York Knicks, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We put out videos every single day on the latest Knicks news and rumors. We go live every single game day. We do watch parties, and I think we're a pretty damn cool channel. If you're looking for updates nonstop on New York, go down right now, hit that big red button. I double dog dare you. I bet you won't do it. Welcome into New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. We're talking about a former Knick in today's show, that being Kristaps Porzingis, the scoring forward for the Washington Wizards. He recently spoke to the media, did a long sit-down interview, and talked about pretty much his entire career. And you betcha he was talking about the New York Knicks. He said he missed it, said he wants to maybe be a New York Knick yet again. This is what Kristaps Porzingis said. He said, I can only really say good things about the organization because I enjoyed it so much playing there in New York and playing in front of those fans. It was a dream come true. In the moment, I didn't realize it's not like that everywhere. New York is a special place. Madison Square Garden is the most special place I had ever played in. But at that moment, I thought it was like that on every team. I had the most fun playing in the Garden. This sounds like a 17-year-old that broke up with his girlfriend and thought he made the right move at the time, but 3 years later, he's like, I miss her. KP misses being a New York Knick. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. There is no other NBA team, NBA arena, NBA fan base like the New York Knicks. You are essentially a god. You're a superstar. You're on a different pedestal when you put on that blue jersey with the orange New York across your chest. I promise you, they don't treat you like a New York Knick when you're playing with the Washington Wizards. I bet they have great fans in Washington. It's nothing like playing with the New York Knicks. KP absolutely misses it. Got traded from the Knicks, went to Dallas, didn't work out with Luka. There were some injuries, got traded to Washington, and now it sounds like he wishes he was still a New York Knick. I mean, when you look at what he did with the New York Knicks in his 3-year career after being selected in the top 5, and Stephen A. said, Tingus Pingus, he was great. He was great with the Knicks. In his rookie season, he played 72 games, gave you 14 points, 7 rebounds, and he got better every single year, where he eventually was named an All-Star in 2017, where he gave you 22.7 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, shot 44% from the deck, and 39.5% from three. But the most important 3 numbers on this graphic right now: 72 games played in 2015, 66 played in 2016, and 48 played in 2017. His reliability, his availability, his injury proneness is what is going to take him from being a potential superstar to a guy that's good only when he plays. But he has been playing so far really well this year for Washington, and he's been on the court. He's played in 37 games so far this year, playing 22 points per night, 9 rebounds, a block and a half, still efficient, 47.5% from the field, and 33.5% from downtown. If that's the Porzingis you get, and he plays 60-plus games per year, that's a win. But that is something that he has not been able to do. Go look at the prior 4 years prior to this year. Last year with Washington, he played just 51 games. The year before in Dallas, he played in just 43 games. And the year before that, in Dallas, he played in just 57 games. The best ability is availability. And I feel like his best basketball was played with the New York Knicks. He was a budding star. There was arguments that he was the most talented draft pick the Knicks had made since the frozen envelope in Patrick Ewing. This guy was ours. He was a superstar. He was an all-star in year 3. He was electric to put back dunks. Coast to coast, 7'3", step back threes. We thought we had a unicorn in New York, but it fizzled so quickly. So many things went wrong, and we'll talk about that in a second. KP talked about his exit with the New York Knicks, and he regrets it, and he feels like he didn't have total control. It was tough, but I think the question now is, should the Knicks maybe trade for Kristaps Porzingis, a guy that's on the last year of his deal with the Washington Wizards? He's going to be a free agent come this offseason. Still a good player. Maybe he's healthy yet again. Maybe he wants to actually be a New York Knick and not just talk about it. Should the Knicks trade for Kristaps Porzingis? Would you welcome him back? Do you hate him? Do you miss him? Do you love him? Let me know. Type T for trade. Type P for pass. Would you make a move for Tingus Pingus? The injuries really, really concern me. He's 7'3". The injuries are already stacking up. It's in sports, hurt people stay hurt. You don't see people usually get more healthy as they get longer in the tooth, and especially not ones that are over 7 feet tall. Look, if injuries were off and I got 100% of Kristaps Porzingis for 82 games a night, absolutely. That guy next to Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett would be absolute fireworks. Jalen Brunson is at his best when he's able to play in an offense that is 5 out. It's hard to do that with a guy like Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle. Same with RJ Barrett. When those two guys have more space to operate and attack the rim and get downhill and put pressure on the defense, that's when they're at their best. Could you imagine Porzingis and Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett if everybody was healthy? The spacing, the shooting, the talent, it would be great. But that, unfortunately, I think is a fantasy land. I'm not sure Porzingis will ever be a guy that can play year after year after year and give you 65-plus games per year. I just don't know if he's tough enough to do that. It sucks. His body's given up on him, but it is just the nature of the beast. We're going to get to those quotes about KP and his exit from the New York Knicks in a second. But first, I want to tell you guys about an app that I'm using in 2023 to help me save big-time bucks, and that is Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/NBA now to organize and optimize all of your finances. It's an app that helps you cancel your unused subscriptions with just a tap, and I love it because it keeps track of your monthly expenses. It lets you know how much you're spending at a certain spot. It really makes you feel more responsible with your finances. It lets you view all your subscriptions on one screen. It shows you all of them, maybe ones you didn't know you had, or maybe ones that you've even been double charged for. It helps you stay on top of upcoming bills and let them do it for you. Let them cancel those unwanted subscriptions. Forbes is calling it the app that will save you hundreds of dollars. I also like that they negotiate to help you lower your existing bills. If they see your bills are higher than what they should be, they're going to take those people and try to lower down your rates, and they monitor events that affect your credit score. Don't waste money. Use Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/NBA now. That link is in the comments and description of today's show. I'm using it. I'm loving it. You should do the same. Go down, get active. Go to rocketmoney.com/NBA now. The breakup between Kristaps Porzingis and the New York Knicks was nasty. It didn't end like I think anybody wanted to. I don't think it ended the way Kristaps wanted it to. It was so abrupt. I remember when it happened, it later came out that the Knicks had a meeting with Kristaps Porzingis. They told him they weren't going to trade him. Then a couple days later, they did trade him. And it was really in that meeting that Porzingis and his representation, a.k.a. his brothers, who was his trainer and his physical therapist and his agent and the guy that let him get beat up in a club in his own home country, what a schmuck that guy was. It was nasty, and it really wasn't. Honestly, Kristaps Porzingis was falling. This is what he kind of had to say about it. He said, could I go back and do things differently? For sure, from our side. I was hurt. If I kept playing, it would have been a completely different story. I'm young, and listening to people and what they're telling me on what I should do with my career, you don't know any better. That's how things went at that time. I don't want to go into too much detail, but how things went with the communication wasn't my style. My style would be different with whatever needed to be done. Maybe it was nothing. My style would have been different either way, but I was wrong. I was going with the flow. He was young and naive. He was like young 20s. He was growing up before our eyes. He came over and started a new life in a new country where he didn't know anybody. He didn't have any close relationships, so he trusted the people in his brothers that he thought had the best interest for them. And I bet they did, or they thought they did, but they didn't handle it rightly. They were losers. They argued for more money, more playing time, this and that. They thought he was the next Carmelo Anthony. You got to earn some stripes before you come in here barking orders and doing all that nonsense. We know Kristaps was great with the Knicks, but it was just the fallout was so gross. Now when I watch him, I don't root for him to suck, but I definitely have a little bit of spite watching him play hoops because it was like, dude, you were everything that this fan base wanted. They wanted a star. You were that guy. But it always seemed like you were trying to do something, whether it was you, your brothers, your personnel, whatever you want to call them, your representation just never seemed to fit with the New York Knicks. And it sucks because I think he could have had a great career with this team. The ACL injury kind of derailed his time with the New York Knicks. Can't stay healthy. It's going to be hard to play for a franchise like this in Madison Square Garden. We'll end the show one more time and make sure you guys, after you heard everything, kind of his apology, now it didn't go his way, and he didn't really get to leave on his own terms. Should the Knicks trade for KP, type T for trade, P for pass, sound off, and make sure you guys are following me over on Twitter. I'm putting out tweets every single day about the New York Knicks. I'm chopping it up with the real ones, always down to talk hoops with the blue and the orange. Give me a follow. I'll give you a follow back. Just DM me KP so I know you came from this video.